4D cherry pie with a removable slice acrylic nail art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I did this 4D cherry pie nail that has a slice taken out of it. Now, in this video I did use magnets. If you don't have magnets at your disposal, you could definitely still do this nail. It's just that the piece of pie wouldn't sort of like click and snap into place. It could be set back into place, but it wouldn't stay there on its own. So you could definitely still do it that way. It would just always be hanging down, which is a-okay. There's no problem with that. I don't really like cherry pie. But I love creating cherry pie. In fact, a couple years ago, this is the first thing I'd ever done with colored pencils as far as like art goes, and I drew this really cool looking just top view of a cherry pie. I like food, so I don't know. I hope that you like this video, and don't forget to click subscribe to see future videos as well. So to begin with, I'm going to be cutting out a triangle out of my nail tip that is no longer than my nail bed is, or it doesn't go up into the nail past where my nail bed is. So I'm just going to cut that out and remove that triangle. That's going to be for the slice. So hang on to that piece, don't lose it. I almost lost it and I was about ready to hit myself upside the head because I was thinking I knew I had to keep that, and then all of a sudden I couldn't find it. It's clear, so it's hard to see if you set it aside and forget where you set it, which I did. Anyways, so then on the nail itself, I'm going to be gluing 2 magnets, which is hard to do because I want to attach to each other, on the side of where the slice is taken out. So you want to glue, see, told you I was having troubles. And then I ended up gluing the magnet to my hand. Yeah, glue. I tell you, nail glue, it's one of the most dreadful things ever. So just make sure that you keep your magnets separated until they are attached. Once they are attached though, you're going to want to flip the nail over and then glue a string to the underside of the nail. So you want to make sure that you do have enough space above that cutout that you can have space to glue that down. So then set magnets next to the first ones. You want them to be flat against each other. So not stacked, but just right to the sides, just like that. And then mark on them what side is up. So make sure that you do keep them the right way. So just mark where they are, and then with that slice set back where it goes, mark where the magnets that are attached to the other nail are on that slice, so that you glue these magnets in the right location. So then glue those magnets, mark side up, on top of the marks that you made on the slice. So this way, when you put the slice back in, those magnets should attach to each other, and they should be right next to each other with the slice all the way in where it's supposed to be. I hope all that makes sense because it's so important getting these magnets in the right location. And once again, nail glue, I tell you. So make sure that those magnets are as close to the edge without going over the edge as you can get them. You want them right up against the edge. Same thing on the nail. And then flip the little slice over and then glue the other end of that string to the underside of the slice. Just make sure that it's the length apart that you want your slice to be able to hang down. So if you don't want it to hang down too far, make your string shorter, if that all should make sense. So then I'm going to be applying a thin layer of a very dark wine or burgundy color acrylic over both the nail and the slice taken out of it. So just make sure you have that layer on there. That's for the background of your pie. So you want to have, the more layers of red that you add and the more colors of red that you use, the more depth your cherry pie is going to have without actually having much thickness to it. So there's the first layer, and then I'm going to be adding that same thing over my slice. This color of acrylic I have that I'm using is not my favorite color. It's got a weird consistency. It's not my favorite, but it was a color that I needed to use, so I used it anyway. And so after I have that on there, just like that, then I'm going to use a brighter, it's a dark red, but it's a little bit brighter of a color, and I'm going to be adding all kinds of little circles of acrylic over the pie. So just keep adding circles. Don't let them touch each other until they've set, or they'll just blend into a single blob, and you want them to retain that circular shape. And make sure that your acrylic is a little bit on the drier side so that it does remain those little bumps, because you don't want it to flatten out. You want it to keep some of its shape. And then also add those over the slice, and then I'm going to be adding some more up above, just so that there's a couple different layers of cherries. So these are your cherries inside your cherry pie. And as I said in the intro, I said that I don't like cherry pie. It's not that I hate cherry pie, I just prefer other kinds. But for art reasons, cherry pie is definitely the most visually interesting to me. So then after I have that layer of red, I'm going to go through, and this one is it's actually almost like a pink color, but it's like a red pink. I'm going to be adding a couple cherries here and there just as another layer of color, so that, like I said, you want to keep adding layers of brightness so that you don't have all the same thing. And then apply a very, very thin layer of builder gel over this whole pie. You want it to be thin, but you also want to use builder gel because it has the right sticky appearance that you need. Plus clear is going to keep your colors that you've worked with underneath all showing. So just really brush it over. So you want all of your cherries to be extremely shiny and smooth looking without having them totally disappear. And then clean off the tacky layer. And then I'm going to be applying my crust. So with a golden tan color, I'm going to be just going around and creating the outside edge of the crust. Just apply a thin stripe of it and then push your brush up in one direction, and then after you have all these up marks going, then pull your brush down. So you want to have a long continuing squiggle going all the way around the pie. Like, you know, when you're making a pie, how you press your thumb and your fingers like so to create that squiggly shape. Do the same thing with your brush. So just create that, as you can see. And if you let your acrylic set just a little bit before you start pressing on it, you will be able to easily create this shape just by pushing. And if you need to practice this shape, it's definitely easy to practice, just on a practice tip to get that down right. If you do have acrylic and it's not going right and you mess up one of these sections, you can easily just sort of push it off before it sets completely off the builder gel, and it will remove just fine. And then you can try that area over again too. If you do all of a sudden have a section that goes haywire, you can fix it. And so then I'm going to go all the way up and around the entire top of the pie. And then I'm also going to be adding that same little squiggle crust shape on the slice that's taken out. So I'm just going to continue that down, take it out, add the little squiggle on the extra piece of pie. So then I'm going to be creating a lattice shape for the top of my pie, and to do that I begin with just long stripes of this golden color acrylic. I'm not doing any cuts in it or anything, just long parallel diagonal stripes going across. And when you're doing this, it is a little bit time consuming to create this lattice pattern because it's several bits of acrylic that you're trying to keep straight and even this entire time. And so make sure you have a good chunk of time set aside to do this nail, but it is so impressive looking that lattice shape at the end that it is definitely worthwhile, at least if you ask me. So I do hope that you do give it a try, even though it is going to take you a bit of time. So then I'm going to continue adding this lattice pattern going all the way across. Well, it's not quite a lattice pattern. Currently it's just stripes. And with thin layers of acrylic, but you do want to leave a sizable amount between each of the stripes, because if you completely cover it up with the lattice pattern, you won't be able to see any of those cherries that you spent so much time making. So make sure that you do leave enough space to see the cherries underneath your pie crust. And then look and try to make it so that the shape of the lattice pattern will continue onto the slice, so that when you stick it together, it does look like it belongs to the same pie, like it's not some piece from who knows where. So do try to continue it and sort of eyeball where the stripe should go on the slice to make it look like it is part of the same pie. And so then to create the little cross pieces, this is where the actual lattice part of the pattern comes in. You need to go up and over every other piece of crust. So you go between two of them. So you go like this one, it goes over to that piece and then pull that up and over to the other piece that's on the other side. So you're going over one and then under. And the other thing is, it's not the same from stripe to stripe. So it's every other vertically and horizontally, even though this is all crooked. That's the best way I can think of to explain it. So you also want to make sure that you don't repeat the same pattern on any of your stripes. So you want to go every other with them from side to side as well as up and down. And I think I explained this better in a previous video where I sculpted a lattice pattern. This was for a basket video that I did a long time ago that was with not cherries, it was apples. It was a basket of apples when I figured out how to do this, because I'd never seen anyone create a lattice pattern with acrylic before. With paint, yeah, but not with acrylic. So I figured this out a while ago. But I will link that video in the description box below because I think I explained it better. And so then I'm going to gently file the sides of both the pie slice and the sides of where the slice fits into the nail, just because they weren't as straight, and then you want to make sure that it does fit in properly. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of diluted brown paint, and I'm going to be adding a little shadow around everywhere where one section of the lattice pattern goes underneath another section. So pretty much every single piece gets a little bit of brown on either end of it. And just go around like that, just adding, that's gonna add so much depth without really doing much of anything to it. So I'm just gonna be adding all those little bits of brown, make it look like it's even more woven. And then I didn't add any top coat to this. I know that I'm not planning on wearing this nail, so I didn't feel like it was necessary because I'm not going to be beating up on it as you would in your daily life, washing your hands, washing your hair. washing dishes where the paint would possibly wear off. And so I didn't do that. Plus, I didn't want to get any, and I would use a matte top coat, I didn't want to get any matte top coat on the little bits of cherry pie that show through. I want to make sure they stayed that glossiness. So that's why I didn't do that, but you can if you'd like to. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this design, and please share any recreations with me on Facebook and Instagram. I would love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!